Support WrestleTalk!
Be kind to each other in the comments. A WWE turning on Nikki, almost a superhero already. Nikki A.S.H. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Lukewarm Luke Owen. Please give this channel a subscribe, the WrestleTalk Podcast channel, for all of your wrestling podcast reviewing needs. We stream every day pretty much, reviewing all the major wrestling shows with a bonus news show on Friday, which is getting rave reviews. So please do subscribe, enable notifications for all of that. And today...
Can I just interrupt you there for a second?
Yeah.
Because we are actually less than 100 subscribers from hitting our 50,000 subscriber goal. Less than 100 people is all we need to hit our 50,000 subscriber goal. And when we do, we will be doing a marathon stream of all of the Attitude Era WrestleManias back to back here on this channel. Because I know how close we are, I started putting together some timings of like how long it would take us to do. So we would start our time, UK time, at 3 p.m. with WrestleMania 14, and we would end at 3:30 in the morning for the end of WrestleMania X7. And I'm going to put this out on Front Street now. I think I may set an extra bonus goal, and we'll do WrestleMania X8 after that as well, which will then take us to 7:15 in the morning.
Great. Well, please punish us and subscribe, or maybe unsubscribe if Luke's going to keep adding pay-per-views to this bonus stream that we're going to do. But yes, we're so close to 50,000 subscribers. Do that, and also WrestleTalk.com/support. Get your Ultrachats in there. We'll read out every single one over $5. But first, we have to talk, unfortunately, about Monday Night Raw, which, like last week's, was bad. Overall bad, because, you had Keith Lee returning, but then losing in his home state. You had Karion Kross, NXT champion, being jobbed out by Jeff Hardy in under 2 minutes. Like, just insane creative decisions. But you also had some good things. Nikki A.S.H. cashing in her Money in the Bank briefcase. It was exciting. It was a very newsworthy show with a lot of questionable, very damaging creative decisions. What this week's had was just damaging creative decisions and boring segments. And the same segments.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to put this out on Front Street now, Oliver Davis, the second time I've used that phrase on this show, because I'm as uncreative as Monday Night Raw is. I'm going to put this out on Front Street. That's the third time. You are high as a kite to give this show 2 out of 5. Higher than Matt Riddle on his best day. This episode sucked massively. It was an awful 3 hours of television. Hated pretty much every single segment on this show, bar a handful of like good moments. And sometimes it wasn't just hate. Sometimes I was just massively bored. And I'm not alone in all of this, because the crowd were bored as well. One of the things I think we've taken for granted. One of the things we've taken for granted from the Thunderdome was piped-in crowd noise, which meant that every match felt like a crowd was invested. And then when you watch a live crowd and you watch Eva Marie and Doudrop wrestle Natalya and Tamina to absolute crickets, it's hard to watch. Really, really hard. And they had 3 matches like that in a row where the crowd didn't care. Poor old Karion Kross and Keith Lee come out to absolutely no reaction whatsoever, and then just wrestled to nothing. I've had louder reactions to wrestling matches where there have been 10 people in the audience in a gym hall with no names. With Billy Gunn was the only name on the card, and he pulled out. Was it Billy? It was Billy Gunn. Yeah, Billy Gunn pulled out at the last minute. And Billy Gunn sold 9 of those tickets. So it was bad, man. Really, really bad. I hated this show quite a lot.
I'm going to put this out on Front Street. Right on Front Street.
What a
Set up a shop
phrase.
there. And I said this is going to happen. I'm surprised it happened so quickly. And what I think the next step is dissenting chants. Because none of the crowd have yet gone, boo. Although there were some boos for Nikki A.S.H. We'll get into that very shortly. But there's been no CM Punk chants. Because I think the fans are still like, this is a novelty. Like we're just happy to be here. I thought that feeling would last through the summer easy. But on Raw, it's already like we've already got 5 weeks into the bad version of the audience in 2 episodes. So I think maybe next week, the week after, especially considering the hottest news in the business right now, that Punk might go to AEW, or some AEW chance.
This, I feel like a bit of a fool. I'll be honest with you, Ollie Davis. I feel like a bit of a fool. On Front Street.
You're going to put that on there?
It's Foolish Fools Incorporated on Front Street. Because about 2 months ago, when WWE announced they were having fans back in the arena, I said on this very podcast, oh, mate, we're in for a rough go of it. Because they're not going to do anything exciting on this show now until fans get back into the arena. They're now saving all of their good stuff until fans get back, and that's when they do the big reset. Idiot that I am. They're just a bad wrestling company that makes a bad wrestling show. Because this is a bad wrestling show made by a bad wrestling company.
Shall we get into this Nikki A.S.H stuff? Because this was like one positive of this is that the women's division was the front and center of the show. It was like right on Front Street. Like when you turn into Front Street, boom, women's division. You had the opening segment completely dedicated to it, and they were the main event as well. So like that is great. That doesn't even feel like they're forcing anything now. It's just like that's a part of the fabric of WWE that should be massively applauded. Unfortunately, with equality comes equally bad booking as the men's division, because this was rubbish. Nikki A.S.H, it's so difficult to not say Ash. Nikki A.S.H came out and she cuts a promo about, I'll recap it all and then we can go into our thoughts. She comes out, cuts a promo about being inspirational. She believes in herself. Charlotte comes out, interrupts her, sort of buries Nikki, but in a heelish way, so it's fine. She's wearing the most ridiculously tall high heels, so she absolutely towers over Nikki. And then out comes Rhea Ripley to do robotic dialogue, and then out come definitely not Raw general managers Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville to, number one, book a triple threat between these 3 women for SummerSlam. I mean, that's good. That's booked way in advance. And then they say, and Charlotte will face Nikki tonight in a championship contenders match.
Okay, so we'll get into the championship contenders thing in a minute, because I feel like that is something we do need to discuss. First off, though, I thought the Nikki A.S.H got a great reaction when she first came out. No, actually, no, great. No, sorry. No. I'm going to correct myself there because I'm actually going to read my notes verbatim. Nikki opens the show to a nice reaction.
Okay.
It wasn't overly positive. It wasn't overly negative. It was a nice reaction, and the crowd chanted, "You deserve it, Ollie Davis."
Oh yeah, okay, the "You deserve it" chant. Yeah, I think that again. We all like Nikki as a person. She comes across very affably. She's always been that sort of wrestler who we all think can do more, but is consistently underpushed. And now they've given her this character. So I think that was cheering for her as a person, not the character. Right?
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. But
because the character does not deserve it. It's been 6 weeks and has really done nothing but flukes.
Yeah. Also, it now makes less sense because she's the champion.
Yes. That this is the crux. Anyway, also in her entrance music, I've listened to the entrance music upload on YouTube. It's not there. I am convinced when she comes out, there is sort of way audience sound effects, because it is the same noise every time she poses in the main event. Like, like pew pew, or all the little sound effects that Kevin Dunn loves to play around with his big soundboard. I think he's got a audience cheer, like left over from the Thunderdome things, and he's pressing the button. Because if you haven't seen, folks, the reports are Nikki's getting booed at house shows, and she was booed in this promo too.
I don't think she was booed in this promo. I think that's
There
unfair.
was a boo. There was a boo-boo.
There might have been a boo. Also, I would say as well, there are conflicting reports coming from those house shows as well. Meltzer said that he was getting reports from people that said she was booed at house shows. I've had people reach out to me to say that she's not booed. People were just massively into Rhea Ripley, which I'll be honest, boggles my mind. That I find the most staggering thing out of all of this, because Rhea comes out on this show and is treated like an absolute megastar. I have no idea how. That is against all odds that she is being cheered by this crowd. But because Rhea didn't win, that's why the crowd were booing. It wasn't against Nikki. It was against the idea that Rhea didn't win. So that's the reports that I have been told. And a few other places have been told a similar thing.
She was booed in this promo when she was like, this is a butterfly. I am, metamorphosis, believe in yourself, whatever. She got booed.
Do you know what? I'm willing to believe you on this one, because I'll be honest with you. When Nikki A.S.H came out for her promo, I wrote in my notes, Nikki opens the show to a nice reaction. Crowd chant, you deserve it. Charlotte Flair interrupts. Rhea Ripley comes out next. Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce make a triple threat for SummerSlam. Then I went and I did some push-ups and some squats and some sit-ups, waiting for the rest of the segment to play out. Because do you know what? John Cena, Goldberg, not the biggest returns we've had in the last 2 weeks. Predictable opening segments that go 20 minutes and could have been done in 5 are back on Monday Night Raw because the fans are here and that's what we deserve.
So the character issue with Nikki here, she won the Money in the Bank, which, fine. I think as her character, you should cash in and announce the cash in. She is almost a superhero. She is the bluest of blue-eyed white meat baby faces. At least that's how I interpret the character. She's cutting these very sincere promos. Believe in yourself, and if you too could one day be a superhero, if you just, and she's so humble. She's not even saying that she is a superhero. So I think you should announce that cash in advance if you're truly going down that route. But she cashed in. Cool. It was a fun moment last week. The follow-up here, she is still saying, I'm almost a superhero. And boy, wow. God, if I just believe in myself. This no longer works when you are the Raw Women's Champion.
Exactly.
Because what it does is it says you are an undeserving champion who has fluked everything. You still have to prove yourself. If you still have to prove yourself while holding the belt, that's a heel gimmick. So it doesn't work for me as an adult. I think this, I like Nikki, but I don't care if she came up with it herself. This character is not for me. I don't think it's a good character, but you can argue it's for the children. But it's not working for the children either, because it's not giving you a consistently moral message.
The problem that WWE have got, and Sugar Shane Helms said this himself on Twitter the other week, moments matter more than anything else. So last week, we had a lovely moment in Nikki A.S.H cashing in Money in the Bank and winning the title. That is a good moment. Problem is, it undervalues everything that the character was trying to be. We were sort of like, I had someone say to me in the comments last week, it was like, oh, I think you've inflicted upon Nikki Cross that she doesn't think she's quite a superhero yet. But I was like, no, literally her gimmick is she is almost a superhero. People walk up to her and be like, you're a superhero. She's like, no, I'm almost a superhero because I'm not good enough yet to be a superhero. So the idea with her being Money in the Bank is that she could be like, well, I have got the Money in the Bank, but I'm not ready yet to cash this in. Once I believe in myself enough and I am a superhero, that's when I'll cash in. That is a lovely story that you can tell over a period of months of her slowly believing in herself. And that is a storyline we can all get behind. But because they have to have the moment, she has to cash in 24 hours after getting it, winning it in effectively a heelish, fluky manner, and now is a crap champion who gets beaten in her very first night as the champion.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Like she's won the championship, but she feels imposter syndrome. There's something there, maybe. And they book this main event for tonight. Nikki versus Charlotte. Last thing on the show. And Charlotte dominates her. Like, this went 10 minutes and Charlotte took 80% of the offense. And I guess, what you want to do is prove that Nikki can hang with her. And Charlotte at the end of it is like, wow, I really underestimated you. You are a superhero inside. But that's not what happened at all. Charlotte beat her very easily, barely an inconvenience. And Nikki's got the worst finisher. I hate that I'm ragging on Nikki so much. It's a top rope crossbody. She might as well have a double axe handle.
That's a Vince McMahon special. It was The Rock's finisher when he was making him the big blue-eyed babyface as well. Randy Orton's finisher when he came in as the big blue-eyed babyface. Vince has got a boner for a top rope crossbody as a finisher for babyfaces. He bloody loves it. I'm fairly certain he gave it to someone else relatively recently as well, within the last sort of 3 years.
Omos. Yeah.
I'm also taking that kind of bump.
Nikki jumps off the top rope, crossbodies Charlotte, but Charlotte kind of rolls through, ends up on top. Not a roll-up, no hanging on the tights. And it's a 3 count.
Yeah.
And I just thought, if, the finisher itself is so weak, that to then get beaten by this even weaker counter to the finisher, where there's no, out, where you can say, but she cheated, she held on to the tights or something. I thought this was an awful showing, kayfabe-wise, for Nikki.
Yeah, it was a terrible end to the show. A flat as ass finish for this. It got over like a fart in a church, and it was just it made Nikki look bad. Didn't make Charlotte look good either. And they've got this massive raging hard on now for this championship contender thing, which I'll be honest with you is just it's just a fancy word of saying rematch. It's basically a way of being like, oh, they've rebadged it, you fool. So we can't get mad at them doing rematches now because they're doing championship contender matches. And there will be people that will be like, well, AEW does this. Because they pointed this out to Sean when he did his show with Denise on the Fightful review. And Sean made the point, it's like, yeah. And they've had one person win in 2 years as a wrestling company win one of those matches. Raw have done 8 of them in 2 weeks. And have already had 2 people win them because they just like to run these ideas into the ground as quickly as humanly possible. So now championship contender doesn't mean anything because Charlotte already had a match announced at SummerSlam, then had a championship contender match. What's she contending for? And guess what? We got out there another rematch next week, which they'll just rebadge as a championship contender. Balderdash. It's maddening. It is John Maddening 94. I hate this company and I hate this show.
So the finish was flat, but the show didn't end there because, right, that they had that era of SmackDown where they kept finishing about 7 minutes too early, and Kevin Owens just went out and cut a promo on someone, and you're like, cool. This is kind of what happened here because Charlotte wins. Everyone's like, well, that sucks. And then Charlotte gets the microphone, cuts a promo on Nikki. Nikki gets the microphone back and is like, well, I challenge you to a match next week because this is the direct quote. I showed myself. I almost could have won. The Raw Women's Champion said that.
She's the top champion.
And so she challenges Charlotte to this match. And Charlotte's like, yeah, okay, let's have that match then. And then clobbers her. And I'm just there the match is already happening. This is a championship contenders match. We've had 3 of them already in the night. And the idea is you get the rematch with the title on the line. So we're getting... We were always going to get this match. And Charlotte, no one's saying, well, and you better put the title on the line. Because they can't. Because they've already booked the triple threat for the title at SummerSlam. It's just... I think this was terrible writing for a program.
Also, just to make you even more mad, it is the 4th or 5th pay-per-view we've now had with Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley fighting over that title. If people want to come into my mention to be like, man, I think Raw isn't as repetitive as you make it out to be. Go back and see how many pay-per-views we've had in a row where Charlotte and Rhea Ripley have fought over that smacking title. It's a bad show, and I feel really bad for Nikki in all of this because I think they have done this character a massive mischief.
Mischief. It's a good wrestler name. I think used to wrestle for Ring of Honor. Yeah. I'm going to put this out on Front Street before we get into the Ultrachats. Subscribe. Anthony Velasquez says, this company does not know how to book baby faces. Also, what a bad Raw by a booking standpoint. Jacob Simmons, hey guys, first time viewing live and my first ever Ultra Chat. Welcome. WWE doesn't seem to know what it wants. It can go from kiddie stuff like Nikki A.S.H to Reigns' missionary promo. Who would the company benefit from just focusing on one of these markets? Great. I was thinking about this earlier because I was like, okay, the character isn't for me, but you do want to appeal to kids. That's the mark of a good show. But then I thought about it for a second. That sounds like good advice, but then you actually really think about it. And the way we run this business is we know what the demographics are for the channel. And if we were getting loads of kids watching us, yeah, we would adapt the content, I guess, to appeal most to them. But thankfully, we don't have to do that because it's pretty much entirely 18 to 45-year-old dudes, 96% dudes. So we know what we can do, and we do not go after a kiddie market. Whereas WWE have an older demographic than us consistently. Yeah. That's been proven in the ratings. Yet they're putting out characters like this that no adult will ever take seriously. So this whole idea that WWE need to give something to the kids every now and again, I push back on.
Ollie, what did you think John Cena was? John Cena was it was a hero for kids when the Attitude Era audience that were still watching were growing older and booing their top babies.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. But now that younger audience that John Cena was there are now the older people that are watching this show, while the people who are watching Hogan are still watching because they're just routinely watching this show. They're going to watch no matter what you put on. I actually, applaud WWE for sticking to their guns and being like, no, we need to attract the kids, because the Hulkamaniac fans are going to die at some point, and we need new fans. We need to create some new kid fans that are going to grow up and buy more of our crap, and we need to sell toys to the kids. So that's why we have cycle vehicles and slambulances and all this. So I don't think it's wrong for them to try and make a character that can appeal to kids. And do you know what? There was that little girl in the front row who had a little Nikki A.S.H sign, which I thought was absolutely adorable. I think that would be really good. But the problem is they've now got to, like they were saying, they've got to appeal to both markets. You got to do stuff for the kids, but then you're like, but we've also got 50-year-olds that are watching this show who grew up during the Attitude Era. So we've got to have Roman Reigns do his edgy promos on the PG show to try and pop them a little bit and pop the internet marks.
Pixar do this very well. Disney in general. It's called 4-quadrant sort of content, where you make something that appeals to everyone. So, you can take a whole family to go and see a Pixar movie or a Marvel movie. Everyone finds something to enjoy in that. Where I think WWE are failing is that they're doing something no one can enjoy. They're doing the worst quadrant. They're doing non-quadrant viewing. Yeah. Mr. Kajili says, hi guys, I've been thinking why Nikki seems to be failing on Raw. It's because SmackDown is more like a well-cooked steak, while Raw is more like fast food, where it gets all the hits in with not much substance, where SmackDown, you let things breathe like Roman. And Mr. Kajili's actually done a bunch of chats here. Thank you very much. To add to my last point, let's look at the difference between Alexa's story that started a year ago on Saturday on SmackDown. It made sense, progressed with a small bit of Powers, but then they got drafted to Raw, and immediately it was about Powers, Lily Lucian. We'll get on to that. One Raw things are rushed, so that's why they don't work like on SmackDown, where they get room to breathe. And I think they most won Alexa versus Nikki at SummerSlam, so that doesn't help this story. But Vince is trying to ruin his own show. Last one, the reason why the Raw Women's Championship doesn't seem strong is because Alexa is unpinned in a year and should be in the title match because the history is there, but I don't think Vince wants it because he wants her to hold Eva's hand.
I was going to say,
there's a lot there.
To disagree with one of the things you said, is they don't want to do Alexa versus Nikki at SummerSlam because they're doing the triple threat at SummerSlam. I think that was quite, that's pretty clear. And I think the Alexa versus Eva is way more interesting than Alexa versus Nikki at this point. I think you need to have, if in order for the Nikki Alexa feud to work, where she is the Joker to Nikki's Batman, Nikki needs to believe that she is a superhero first before she then takes on an arch villain in that sort of sense. I also don't think that things are let to breathe too much on SmackDown. One story is let to breathe on SmackDown, and that's the Roman Reigns story. Everything else is just as bobbins as it is on Raw. Apart from the Baron Corbin thing, which has been quite entertaining.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I sort of agree with those points. One Anonymous 243. Hey, getting second shot today regarding Nikki. Anyone else reminded of Bayley's call-up and they ran her character into the ground? Specifically, I remember she won the title by shenanigans and Steph asked her to do the right thing. She didn't. It was just lame.
Yeah, because they don't know how to book a babyface.
No. And finally for now, Charlie Griffith says, I wasn't a fan of the Nikki A.S.H gimmick, but if this builds her to beating both Ripley and Flair and she becomes an actual superhero, then I think the whole story works. Becky will return soon and give life to the women's division. Good Raw, in my opinion. Well,
Charlie,
I'm glad you enjoyed it, Charlie. I think you are, if I'm getting shouted at for giving it a 2 out of 5.
In all fairness, I might be in the minority here thinking this was a 1 out of 5 show, but this show drove me up the bloody wall. Also, I think if she wins the triple threat, it still doesn't work, particularly because I think she might just keep losing until then, and then she gets her one win. It's like, oh, she prevailed the odds. Yeah. She lost all the way in. She lost on her first Raw as the champion. That kind of thing sticks around. Same with Karion Kross last week. Did Karion Kross look better coming out this week because he lost to Jeff Hardy with Jeff Hardy cheating? No, he came out looking like a complete joke.
Yeah, I think that story only works if Nikki hasn't won the title. And Nikki, you build the story around Rhea and Charlotte are going to do it again. And everyone's like, no, we don't want to see that. And Nikki has the briefcase and she's like, I want to join that match. And you build it around that story. And then she wins the title at SummerSlam to become a superhero. That's the story.
Great.
Not this where she wins it right away. Oh, God's sake.
Yeah, but Ollie,
give me this company. Give me this company.
Ollie, we got the moment. And sometimes the moment is what matters.
Please get the rest of your Ultrachats into WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one over $5 by the end of the show. And apparently producer Rich has put a sexy little sub counter graphic on screen.
We are just over 30 away. We are at 49,967 in terms of subs. So we could actually reach our 50,000 mark live on this show.
Let's do it, folks. Come on, please. As they say in the YouTube, smash that subscribe button, right? Unless you're subscribed already. Because then you're unsub.
Yeah.
So smash that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed.
Also, the other thing... Okay, I mean, that's fine. Well, do you know what, Ollie? I don't want to talk about this show either. Do you know what I would like to talk about? T-shirts! Because we've got a new t-shirt design on WrestleShop.com, but we want you to decide which shirt it's going to be. So
we can't
pick. So I've got 2 t-shirt designs here. We're going to have a poll going up very, very soon on the YouTube thing. So please do vote in that poll. Would you like us to next do this Jam That Jam t-shirt or Jamamania? So option 1, Jam That Jam. Option 2, Jamamania. There'll be a poll going up, putting up by our lovely moderators. Vote on that. The winning one will be available on WrestleShop.com for purchase.
So we had a meeting earlier today when we were looking at these, and we couldn't genuinely decide. And we had this one up, and Pete said, it's. I like Jam That Jam, it's funny, but he doesn't like the idea of, building up Hulk Hogan. I'm like, well, we're not building up Hulk Hogan. We're sort of making fun of him, if anything. And then we showed him this design, and he's like, oh, yeah, that's much better.
Yeah, because the first design's got the Hogan tash on it. He's like, it's too much like Hogan. And this one is like, yeah, because that doesn't remind me of Hulk Hogan whatsoever. legit was like, yeah, I don't think that makes me think of Hulk Hogan whatsoever. I'm like, look at the font.
It's like, do you know? Do you even Hogan?
We are
we're 10
people
subscribers.
Away. 8 away. I've got the live feed up on my screen.
Oh, wow.
8 to go.
Come on. If we get past it, me and Luke will do a staring contest.
Oh, it's just gone back down. It's now at 991 again.
No. Right. So this Raw opened up with a random robot is now part of the graphics package. Did you see this?
Yeah, I thought it might have been there for a while and I've just not realized it. But you told me this was new.
So it's just like, when they introduce a clip, there was a lot of Suicide Squad sponsorship on this episode. And before they played clips or showed the poster or anything, this little robot would appear on the screen and then go, Rrr. And it's just like, why? I know it's a minor, insignificant thing in the scope of all of WWE's problems, but it is also exactly the reason that everything's wrong. It's like this inattention to detail or coherency of tone. Just what we were talking about with, you've got the Nikki stuff for kids, you've got the missionary stuff for the adults. Like, what purpose is a robot serving? I'm sure someone's now going to say, oh yeah, but that's USA Network's thing. There's that.
It probably is like a USA Network logo thing. Yeah.
In which case, whatever. But wouldn't it be better to have like an animated wrestler? Or like Bobby Lashley? Just give me the moving people graphics.
I'll be honest, I didn't really care that much or care that much about it. I think it would be a more accurate term for this.
Okay, we've passed the amount. What do people want? Yay!
Don't be like that. We just passed 50,000 subscribers, you miserable sod.
Yeah, but then you added another pay-per-view.
Well, no, I haven't yet. I will do as an extra bonus goal, but we have to get to that extra bonus goal first. But yes, that means we are going to do all of the Attitude Era pay-per-view, Attitude Era WrestleManias back to back. We're going to do it on a Sunday. We'll work out all the dates and all the details and everything. Not everyone will be doing. I'll be doing all of the episodes, so don't worry. I'm the cool one here. But we'll have a lot of fun doing it. It's going to be about 12 or so hours stream, so that's going to be a really, really fun time. I'm super looking forward to it. Could be more, could be up to 15 hours if we do include X8 into this. I've seen someone in the comments said, why didn't you include WrestleMania 19? That's an Attitude Era show. Well, it is not. It very much is not. I don't even think X8 is. I think X7 very much marks the end of the Attitude Era.
We'll try and do it in the office, I think.
Then
we can all be together. We just all need to be double vaxxed first. So staring contest, that's what the people want. You want to do it?
Are you sure they want a staring contest? You sure that's
I'm just going by one comment. What are people saying? Dance chopper?
What they want is this. Man, I miss those tashes already.
Yeah, at least Kenny's still got his. Right, so this episode of Raw. Thank you, everybody, for 50,000 subscribers. That's very important to Luke. You're going to cry again, like when you watched the Ghostbusters trailer.
The Ghostbusters trailer made me cry. What of it?
I cried at Tom Daly's gold medal win.
Who's Tom Daly?
He is. He's one of our British boys. It was a diver, synchronized diving.
What, like submarine diving? That's cool.
No.
But
the Olympics.
Don't find like treasure at the bottom of the ocean or something. That's a pretty.
That's how you get it. That's how you get the gold.
Yeah,
get down there first.
In like the big sort of like metal submarine things.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty
exactly
rad.
what
I didn't
it is.
know that was an Olympic sport.
I actually started making fun of it to my lady partner. I was like, this is the most stupid sport. And by the end, I was like, oh, God, that was perfect, guys. It's perfect.
So London 2012 means a lot to people in this country, I believe. And sometimes when you meet new people and the Olympics comes up, it's like, oh, where were you when Great Britain won 50,000 gold medals or something? Probably got like 50 FIFA points or whatever it is. And I know exactly where I was when they won all the FIFA points and the golden coins and that. I was doing a Nightmare on Elm Street marathon in my living room with the curtains shut with my mates. And it was great. We had a wonderful day.
Luke hates his country and he wants us to join Europe again. Nah.
Still in Europe, you dolt.
We lost it. No. We broke up with Europe. Good riddance to them, I say.
Good riddance to them.
We're much better without them.
Don't want the French around here.
I don't want trade. Jeez, all that money to help farmers. Better off without you, Euros.
Oh, we got a new fun thing with this. We found a new name for Adam. Because Adam got getting called a Tory on a stream, and it started to really annoy him on the Money in the Bank stream. Yeah. Someone came. I think it was Charles Berg actually came up with calling him the nickname Toriano.
Sorry, this is. Look, I don't want to talk about Raw. You remember that there was me and Luke. If you didn't watch it a few weeks ago, we had a genuine heated disagreement about the guy who put a flare up his bumhole. And you said it was like disrespectful and loutish, and I was like, "It's funny."
I didn't say it was disrespectful. I said it was dumb.
You said like,
also,
"Oh God,
there's a pandemic on. There's a pandemic. Sort yourselves out."
And the heat will scare the COVID away. So have you seen that he's done an interview?
No.
I'm trying to find it. He effectively said he had no. I can't find it. I can't find that. I just searched flare bumhole, so like I don't know why the results haven't been worse actually. So they did an interview with him. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so the England fan with a flare up his bum in Leicester Square. So he was doing a sort of handstand, and they put a flare in his bum hole and they lit it. The culprit was unrepentant. Charlie Perry, a 25-year-old roofer, told the paper he regretted nothing. having drunk at least 20 cans of Strongbow. And this, I've got to share my screen.
20 cans of strong. Oh man, if only it was like, I don't know, super strong, or like, Blue Lightning or something.
Having drunk at least 20 cans of Strongbow and quote banged a load of powder. Look at the Guardian trying to intellectualize this. Perry's relaxed tone reveals a lot about the mindset of the modern football fan.
Banged a load of powder is no.
Oh, it's so funny. Banged a load of powder before the game.
Banged a load of powder and 20 cans of Strongbow. Of course, I'm going to stick a flare in my ass.
How did you think this day was going to end?
Oh my God. Oh.
Okay. Sheamus versus Damien Priest was actually pretty good.
The first match
was actually pretty good.
It was good.
It was a championship contenders match. If Priest won, he would get a match at some point. I don't know. Is that going to happen next week?
No. So here's what. So this was a championship contenders match. The highlights that they chose for Damien Priest, that is for a lot of wrestlers being like, look at the cool thing that they did recently. And the cool thing they showed for Damien Priest was he once knew Bad Bunny 3 months ago. Legit, that is what they said. He once knew Bad Bunny 3 months ago. And he wins, and Damien Priest, that is, he wins. And you're like, cool. So that means that he gets a shot at the United States Championship now. But Corey Graves, or one of the commentators, said that now puts him in the conversation for a future title shot. So what is a championship contenders match? So he's now in the graces of Pearson DeVille to possibly give him a title match at some point, I think.
It makes no sense. They've just plucked this championship contenders word out of thin air, or phrase rather. I think we all know where this is going. It's going to be Priest versus Sheamus, either on TV or at SummerSlam. That seems to be the big feud, and rightly so. But Sheamus is fantastic. Priest needs a solid mid-card feud and hopefully win at the end of it. Sheamus lost by having the sort of face mask knocked off, and But some of the moves in this and near falls I thought were really, really good. This was like the Sheamus pre-WrestleMania, where he was having those killer TV matches every week. Wasn't at that crazy good level, but it was really, really, it was best match on the show by far.
Yeah, it fell down because of the commentary, I feel, with all of this, because the gimmick has been, like, when Sheamus first won the belt, his gimmick was he wasn't defending it. Like, he was doing the open challenge, but not actually putting the title on the line. That's when we had, like, his Best of 1,000 feud with Humberto Carrillo. Did well for him now with the 24/7 geeks later on in the show. But then he got injured. Like, he legit, like, broke his face, right? So then he couldn't actually wrestle. He wasn't cleared to wrestle. But they're still peddling the idea. Byron Saxton still peddling the idea. Well, Sheamus just would not defend his championship. He's not an honorable champion. Corey Graves, the heel commentator, was like, he was injured. He wasn't cleared to wrestle. That's why he wasn't defending the belt. But Byron, because Byron has to be the babyface, be like, oh, well, you know, he wouldn't defend the belt. What an awful champion he is. And it's like, well, no, he did the right thing by not defending his title while he was injured.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no coherent stuff. I think the commentators are just trying to say stuff in the moment because they can't keep track of all of this nonsense. After that, we got AJ Styles and Omos taking on the Viking Raiders in a tag title match. You're right there.
Sorry, I just got distracted there. Andy Katz has just sent me a message that said, have you ever banged a lot of powder and then shoved a flare up your bum?
He's not got back to me. I don't think he'll ever say that. So this match, the Viking Raiders got another tag title shot because Riddle pinned John Morrison last week. Or
Correct.
One of the Viking Raiders pinned John Morrison last week. But whatever, it didn't need to happen. It's a repeat match. They've already been beaten. They had a game plan of trying to isolate AJ Styles, probably the smartest thing you can do. But Omos got in, squashed him, and AJ won with a 450.
Yep, tall man.
Tall man. Drew McIntyre came out. He was going to have a match against Veer, of Veer and Shanky fame. But then Jinder Mahal came out. He's got a new heel gimmick because, you know, just chuck everything at the guy to make this work. He's got a personal lawyer. He's going to sue Drew for beating up Shanky so much last week. McIntyre was pretty good working up the crowd here. He was like, Drew is going to kill you chant. I thought the match was pretty sloppy, but both Alvarez and Meltzer praised it. So that they've got a better eye for stuff than me. I thought Veer was just like walking around at the end, like when he was waiting for the chair to be handed to him.
Yeah, I didn't think this was that good.
Yeah. And yet Drew wins because Jinder gives Veer a chair. Veer holds it up. Drew claymores the chair into Veer's face. And the referee announces, Drew won by DQ.
Yeah.
What?
Which I thought it was a botch. I was like, because they announced that Drew was the winner, but then Corey Graves said on commentary, Veer will be the one in the winner's book because he won that match because Drew kicked the chair into his face. And I was like, well, yeah, that's what makes sense because Drew used a weapon on Veer. And so it should be Veer won by DQ. So I went to WWE.com and they said, no, Drew won by DQ. The finish makes no sense.
Doesn't make any sense. No.
Also, why can't if you're going to have Drew be the winner, why didn't you just pin Veer? Are we protecting Veer all of a sudden? Did you have an aneurysm because you didn't have enough DQs on the show? It's like, well, we're going to have at least one DQ. It's Raw, for God's sake. Why don't you just pin Veer? Surely that's the point of having Shanky and Veer there. It's for Drew to beat them on the way to Jinder.
I've got no answer. It makes no sense. This is not the way they usually do it, and the way they usually do it is dumb anyway. McIntyre beat up the lawyer afterwards. Eva Marie and Doudrop took on Natalya and Tamina in another championship contenders match for the women's tag belts. This went, a couple of minutes. Natalya got injured, seeming in a spot with Doudrop, hurt her leg. It seemed like they probably called an audible, went to the finish early. Eva is distracted by a Lily Lucian promo, which is a take on Eva's reintroducing vignette, but it was the Alexa Bliss puppet Lily just going round the world in inspirational ways. I actually thought it was quite funny. Eva gets pinned by Tamina.
Yeah, the Eva Marie character still makes no sense because she does want to wrestle. The whole point was that's why she has Doudrop by there. And Tamina has the worst super kick in the world. But to give some praise to this match, poor old Natalya, get well soon, Natalya.
Yeah.
But the biggest praise I could say about this match, this is easily the best thing they've done with Lily and Alexa since they started doing this Fiend rip-off gimmick. This was genuinely very good. And I thought it was real. I thought Lily Lucian
was genuinely good.
I know. I would say I thought it was
good?
genuinely very. I thought it was genuinely very good. I thought it was a very funny video package. I thought that Lily doing all of the Eva Marie quotes was very funny. I mean, I didn't laugh, but it was it was better than the match that was happening. It was better than the match going on in the ring.
Keith Lee took on Karion Kross after this. Presumably, this was meant to be Kross versus Jeff Hardy, but Jeff Hardy tested positive for COVID, so Kross couldn't avenge Jeff Hardy for making the, quote, biggest mistake of his life last week by cheating to beat the NXT champion. So Keith Lee and Kross had a match, and it was depressing as all hell because the crowd didn't care. You can't blame them. Most of them probably don't watch NXT. Probably a bunch of them didn't watch during the lockdown era either, so they're probably not familiar with Lee. There's been no effort to really properly build these guys up. And they did not, they just wrestled quite a standard match. And that's not, the reason we love Keith Lee isn't because he wrestles standard matches. We love him because he's a great promo. He's got loads of charisma and he can jump around crazily well for a big guy. And they didn't let him do any of that.
This was previously a takeover main event. Yeah. Keith Lee versus Karion. So I believe that's how Kross won the belt. And here it was just a throwaway match on Raw because WWE has this problem, and it's a consistent problem that they always have, which is where they beat people and then they're like, oh no, but we need to get their heat back. So we need to put them in there with other people. But the problem they had here is they put Keith Lee and Karion Kross, who both need to get their heat back. So one of them had to just get even less heat. And Karion Kross got nothing from being Keith Lee. Keith Lee got nothing from losing. Same thing happened with Nikki and Charlotte in the main event. It's like, well, Charlotte got beat last week, so we need to give her a win on this match, on this week's Raw. Well, we need to give her a big win, so she better pin the champion. Oh, no, but now the champion's been pinned, so we need to give her a big win the following week. So we're going to have to do a rematch of this. Sean Rossap over at Fightful has said that he has got the original plans for Karion Kross versus Jeff Hardy this week, the way that he suggested it. I mean, I don't know this for certain. This is me speculating. Jeff was going to win again this week. And I know that there are people out there defending this, being like, Karion Kross didn't get buried. It's all about making him more angry. Forgetting the fact that he's the NXT champion who was about to have a takeover main event against the returning Samoa Joe. Don't be beating him in 90 seconds by Jeff Smeggin Hardy on TV. Bad decision. This didn't help either.
Do you think Lee has heat?
No.
Do you think he's being...
Apparently not. Sean said that it's nothing to do with hate. It's just I don't think Vince sees anything in him. So that's what this is. What his lot is now. This is what Vince sees him as. He's just a guy on the roster.
I just have to give a shout out to Jimmy Smith, the commentator, who within the first 30 seconds of this match said, and I quote, "This one has lived up to the build."
Amazing.
What build?
That's great. What build? Yeah.
We got a recap. We got so many recaps of last week's cash-in, but that's good because they're trying to make it feel special. Nikki cut another promo for the kids backstage, and then I'm not into that, whatever. But then Rhea came in, and
oh my god,
her delivery, her dialogue is awful.
She's horrendous,
so bad.
She might be a worse actor than Eva Marie, and I don't think you could get any lower than Eva Marie last week. The problem I got with Nikki's promo here is that it's all the same stuff that she said at the top of the show. And later on, Charlotte Flair does a promo, and she said exactly the same thing that she said at the top of the show. So it was actually a complete waste of time.
Do you know how low Eva Marie can go?
Right.
Floor level low.
To address this, a few people called us out last week and they said, guys, look closely. Doudrop trips her up. It wasn't Lily. It's Doudrop that tripped her up. And so I was looking quite clear this week. I think it was Doudrop. I think it was Lily made her fall over with her mind magic.
I'm just going to go to the VAR. It's a term I've learnt recently following sports. Nowhere close.
Yeah, that is Eva tripping over her own feet.
God damn it. After this, we got something I enjoyed. So
Yeah,
Mace and T-Bar, wasn't them. They took on the new team of Mansoor and Mustafa Ali. Ali has got like this there's something about the guy that's just likable, even when he's a heel. I think he's very good at being an on-screen performer. Mansoor has got something. I just want to cheer for the guy.
I tell you what he's got. The most handsome face in all of the company. He's a great look. There's a reason why they're looking to push this guy. And I think it makes sense to do this because Denise made this point on Fight for Slate, and I totally agree with her. I think they're going to win the tag belts in Saudi Arabia later on this year.
Yeah, potentially.
So it makes sense to put him into a tag team because he can win belts that don't matter because the belts just change hands to willy-nilly. And I think this is a really fun team to put together. I really like Ali. I'm really into Mansoor at the moment, actually. They kind of bless him. He got no reaction for his hot tag when Ali did tag him in. There's also, bear in mind, like Mace and T-Bar and was used to be like, Ali was their leader. And that did not play into a single thing in this match. Like the commentators gave it a bit of lip service, but it meant nothing. And they said, "Oh, it's a big, huge upset that they got the win there." But I thought this was the best thing on the show, outside of the pre-Sheamus in ring action.
I'm just seeing a lot of comments who are like, "Actually, there is someone more handsome than Mansoor in the company," and I agree. It is, of course,
face.
the biggest baby face known to raw kind. Where was he on this show? What are they trying to sink the ratings?
Well, Elias wasn't on the show, so there's no one else for him to face.
Mansoor did this really cool thing. One more bit on this. They got the surprise roll-up win as well, so yeah, it feels like they're building them to something. But it is hard to get invested in anything in this company because it could derail even next week. Like 3-week pushes are even too long now. I can't remember which one of Mace and T-Bar it was, but Mansoor was pinning them in the middle of the ring, and the other one booted Mansoor off, and he managed to fly out, like took one bump in the ring and then out the ropes.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good.
It was really, these guys were bumping their asses off to make Mace and T-Bar look good, who, by the way, cut a dreadful promo before this match. Cringe Tribution, not Tribution are not good. And but my favorite part of this match actually was when Ali did his like diving tornado DDT, and Mansoor's in the apron and said "Dude, that was so awesome! That was really cool." And Ali's focus on the match, and he gets in and he wins the match. I think they've got something. There could be something here. That's all I'm saying.
After that, we got a different kind of reunion. Bobby Lashley and MVP said they weren't going to answer Goldberg's challenge. They're not going to do it. They're not accepting it, really, which is the exact same storyline Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman are doing with John Cena on SmackDown. So great creative bonus points there, Bruce Pritchard, for, you're overseeing both shows. It's nice to have consistency.
Yeah, Control C, Control V.
So Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, the former Hurt Business buddies, come down, and they're like, "Well, we'll take you on instead." They do it separately. It's not like they're coming down as a team. And Bobby's like, "I'll take you both on." And he squashed them in 3 minutes with a jackhammer, of course, as a shout out to Goldberg. And it was just like, I just thought this was depressing.
And this is my own fault. I will say that out now. I thought this was going to be a big Hurt Business reunion. When Cedric came out, I was like, yes, Cedric's going to and then Shelton came out, and I was like, brilliant. MVP's going to convince them they should all just get back together and they can all beat up Goldberg, which might actually get me into this feud. Nope, they're just there for Bobby to beat them quickly. Cool.
Yeah, it sucks. After that, we got Riddle and Morrison. Before that, AJ Styles had sort of approached Miz and Morrison to work out some heel plans. Omos sort of covered them from the camera, which was pretty cool. But maybe not. Maybe don't have your secret meetings in front of a camera crew next time. Then you won't have to have someone stand in the way. And yeah, Riddle was hugely over with the crowd, had a fun match against Morrison. Of course he did. But it was a rubbish finish when Omos and AJ came down to the ring. They broke Riddle's scooter, and Riddle was distracted by this enough to get hit by a Starship Pain and lose.
So really good way to build up your future tag title contenders, folks, by having the lad lose. Good going, WWE. You're brilliant at this. You know, they showed the highlight for Damien Priest, you know, being like, oh, he was mates with Bad Bunny 3 months ago. John Morrison, they were like, oh, the last great thing that he did is he won the SmackDown tag team titles in 2007. Like, that was their lone. Oh, it's the best thing he's ever done in his career 14 years ago.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like we're on the road to Omos and AJ versus Riddle and Orton for SummerSlam. I'd assume this is like the start of their feud, moving away from the Viking Raiders. They can beat up Riddle, and Orton is currently being advertised for the 2nd of August, which is next Monday. So he can return and save him.
That's what they were saying up here, because Riddle got beaten up by AJ, mostly AJ after the match, and the crowd were chanting for Randy, but there was no Randy there to save him. So, I mean, yeah, if it were me, I'd have probably had Riddle win, you know, because you might actually create some momentum off the back of that. But this company doesn't know what it's doing, so he lost.
This is the last bit we're going to cover of Raw, because then it was the main event, which we've already done. R-Truth came out for a match against Reginald for the 24/7 title with a microphone headset on.
Sure did.
The one he, you know, usually he's got a mic that he holds to do what is up over there, what is up over here. But no, he just had like a call center headset on. And he kind of not narrated his match, but just gave like, oh, you're over there now. Okay. Hey, buddy. It's bizarre.
Yeah. So I wrote here, Truth has a headset to provide commentary. Crowd dies. Reginald has 0 comedy timing. He wins. Oh man, Karion is now part of the job squad. That was fucking shit.
Luke.
Swear jar emojis. Get the emotes out there. I thought this was awful.
I thought it was one of the better things on the show.
Oh man, this was rubbish.
I'm not saying it was good. I'm saying it was one of the better things on the show. Reginald, yeah, you're right. He doesn't have any sort of like, he's just not got the right facials for it. But man, can the guy jump. He can jump left. He can jump right. Did you see how he entered the ring? He jumped so high. How do they do that?
Yeah, it's a trampoline. It's like bloody Sin Cara.
Say what? You're telling me that's a working jump? Thought it was a shoot jump. 24/7 goons, ran down afterwards, and he escaped them all with a jump.
The man can flip. Wicked.
Reginald can jump.
But they put him in a comedy role, and he can't do comedy. So that's it's mistake number 1 right there.
Well, that was Raw. I gave it 2 out of 5, but I agree with everyone. I think it probably should have been 1 out of 5. I don't think this was... It's weird because I think last week, its lowest points were worse. Kross losing was an unforgivable thing. I don't think there was anything that bad on this show. But overall, it was a more displeasurable experience. No,
I mean... as I said, I feel like I'm possibly in some form of the minority here, because we did have the community poll. They were in agreement with you. 46% thought this was a 2 out of 5 show. 24% thought it was 1 out of 5, with 23% thinking it was an average show of television. Yeah, I mean, I really did not like this show. I really did not get on with it. But I agree with you. There was nothing actively bad or damaging. It was just a really boring 3 hours of television. And at the end of it, I was like, this is a bad wrestling show. Just to clarify on the other poll as well, not to clarify, but to bring the poll to a close. Jam That Jam won with 71%, 29% voted for the Jammermania t-shirt. So this Jam That Jam t-shirt will be available on WrestleShop soon.
And what I love about it is that it doesn't remind me of Hulk Hogan in any way. So no, just like this Pete will be happy. Hello. What a guy. Right, well, we've got no Patreon Pledge Hammer shout-outs to do, so I'll just say go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk, become a Pledge Hammer there, because this week we have our drunk podcast being recorded and uploading exclusively. Always a good time. So please go do that.
Also, we have been getting rave reviews for our review of WCW Bash at the Beach 2000. The Pledgehammers have very much enjoyed that show because Ollie Davis loses his mind while reviewing that show. And we have such a giggle at Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner having a piddle. Having a piddle in the corner and just in the hallway, just banging a load of powder and having a little piddle in the
whoa. Allegedly. Right, well, let's get on with your wonderful Ultra Chats. Thank you. And, if you haven't done already, we've hit 50,000 subscribers, but now is the march to what number? 75? Is that too far?
75 is our next goal.
75K. Come on, everybody, let's do it. Nathan Schultz says, Fuego del Sol and his quest to hit the Tornado DDT was a better telling of the superhero story than Nikki A.S.H. How does this company continue to waste her obvious talent? Well, I don't think they're wasting her talent now. She's the Raw Women's Champion. But, yeah, it's not ideal. Craig Brown, is it just me, or can we see Jinder versus Drew inside a Punjabi prison match?
We can only hope.
Well, the thing about the Punjabi prison match is that you cannot see anyone inside it. So I think even if that happens, the answer's no. SMB, I think I know why Drew won that match, technically. If you want to be picky, Veer was holding the chair, so in control of the weapon, and the chair touched Drew's foot before it touched Veer's face, meaning Veer technically hit Drew. I can imagine WWE doing it.
You might have solved that one, SMB. Well done.
Bacon Rasher. Hi, lads. Have some money for watching Raw. Well deserved. Also, does half the Raw roster have a cold and keep walking past Vince while the other half eat with him and don't know the etiquette? Raw is a bore. Thanks for watching so we didn't have to jam that jam. On the cold thing, the same people are on the shows and, we don't know anything. Well, we know Jeff has got tested positive. So it is kind of like, in these times, having a limited roster, I can understand.
I'm going to strongly disagree with you on that one there because I'm pretty sure America has just beaten COVID and that it just doesn't exist over there anymore. I think they're just
America.
Over it now.
In your face, COVID. Benny Boy 004 highlight of the show was Truth versus Reggie.
I'll admit that I was wrong.
Other than Priest versus Sheamus, there wasn't much I cared about. And poor Keith. Adam Blamplate. I really enjoyed... Is this a troll? I really enjoyed last night's show. 5 out of 5. The Swaff Nation on Twitter really hit a home run. So funny, taking the mick out of a really bad show. Join the plate order. Fork, 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 knife. Very funny. So they liked how bad it was. Prodby D-Matic. I think the crowd should start chanting, "This is boring," and chant "No more rematch." AEW. Chant AEW. That's the most fun. The Intangible One, Cliff Beard, skipped Raw again. Seems like I missed a terrible show. On the other hand, that new Ghostbusters movie trailer looks brilliant. Can't wait to see it. Do you like Ghostbusters?
Yeah, me. Oh, me. Yeah. I really do. Cried a whole lot watching it. But it's beautiful, man.
Demar Derozan. I will watch it after this. Demar Derozan. Bad Raw with weird decisions. What else is new? Tag action was surprisingly good. Jomo's set-up move for the Starship Pain looks sweet. Drew versus Veer was long and boring with a nonsensical finish. Raw needs Becky back as soon as possible. I don't think that will change anything.
No. Well, I mean... Yeah, they'll just move Nikki A.S.H out of the title picture, man, and go back to Becky versus Charlotte.
Oh, yeah. Tyler Woodward, get back in the office. But Raw was S-word. Jinder ruins everything. His promo was so cringe, I wanted to claymore him. There was nothing good on Raw. Also, I did an interview with Sat on my channel, Wrestling Daily's Sat. Last fan standing last night. Go check it out, jam that jam. Oh, awesome.
I would say, Tyler, that Jinder did a great promo then. If you wanted him to get claymored in the face, that means the heat worked.
You can also see Sat on Wrestling Daily tonight. And Tyler Woodward, there was one more thing missing from Raw, and that was no more words. Man, Jeff getting COVID sucks balls. Kross and Lee should have beaten local competitors, FFS. WWE let them squash local competitors. They are on the road again. Use jobbers to build up stars. Yeah, that would be much better. Hot tag to you.
James Hanley said, I've said it before that the Thunderdome was the worst thing for WWE because it gave Vince control over the crowd. At the time, I agreed with you that it was better with no crowd, but it gave WWE an echo chamber of applause telling them what they want to hear. He also adds, on the US version of Whose Line Is It Anyway, Drew Carey started the show by saying, where everything is made up and the points don't matter. Can this apply to WWE, where everything is made up and the wrestling doesn't matter?
Yeah. Well, wrestling is all made up, but it should matter.
Danny Average, the extent of my WWE viewing now is scrolling down the YouTube feed and realizing it's not worth watching, then watching Jay White on Impact. How long do you guys think they can go before you Stephen Larson this to maintain your sanity? Just to clarify, Stephen Larson still review Raw, but they do what we do. They watch it a day afterwards so they can like skip through commercial breaks and stuff. So yeah, they are doing what we do. If anything, we were the first to break. When we first started doing the reviews day after. Dried Chicken Without Flavor said, watching Monday Night Raw is like WWE spraying all of the chicken with water to get rid of all of its flavor. I can't eat that chicken, which is now dry and raw.
Really embracing the username gimmick.
Dard Train 24, Luke, the new Ghostbusters trailer just dropped. Are you excited or nervous? I am super excited. I thought that the scene with Paul Rudd and the tiny Stay Puft things was a disaster waiting to happen. But the trailer made me cry, so peanuts on the up. Zornice said, Midwest Marks podcast. Hey, Ollie and Luke. I've been watching for a long time and love all the content WrestleTalk gives. Today is my golden birthday, and I would love a birthday shout out for my favorite podcast tag team. Can you please do this for him?
Golden birthday? That sounds like Zornice is talking about someone else.
Golden birthday. Well, you know
Maybe
what? Golden birthday is a thing. Your gold birthday or golden birthday is the year that you turn the same age as your birthday. For example, turning 25 on the 25th or 31 on the 31st.
Oh.
So I would have had mine on the when I turned 14. I can't. Oh man, I missed mine.
Yeah. Oh, I missed mine too. Well, happy birthday, the Zornice or Midwest Marks podcast.
Both.
Whatever. Yeah.
Fred Wurst. Yo, you're telling me loving this right here. Hello, gents. I've watched a minute of WWE programming since Goldberg Fiend. Thanks for your service you provide, watching and reacting to this lethargic, creatively bankrupt product each and every week. So we never, ever have to. Hashtag this company. Dried Chicken Without Flavor. Let's go Tempest. Let's go Tempest. His tattoo looks. Yeah, I mean, he does suck, but that tattoo's pretty rad, even though I think he overpaid for it. And Charles Berg. Lastly, with the poor review, let's get the dog up. Robin is a golden doodle who loves to walk with his dog friends. I have to be calm when I get him because he gets so excited he pees. I call him Happies. Nicknames, Robbie the Robot, Elf Boy, Rob Van Ham. Take care, you guys. There he is right there.
I love Rob Van Ham.
Yeah, he's a good little boy. There's actually the dog right there.
Ah, doggy, good. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for another crap episode of Monday Night Raw. Yeah. I like Thursdays. I like Thursdays when it's AEW.
Yeah. It was not a good show this week. But yeah, hey, do you know Luke, what? Maybe next week will be better.
Maybe. Me and Luke are going to bang a load of powder now. Stick a couple of flares up our buttholes.
I mean, that's what we're waiting to get back to the office for. It's not to review this show. It's so we can bang some powder together and stick some flair up our jacksies.
Is that what we're going to do for 75,000 subscribers? We can have a red and a blue one for the WrestleTalk colours.
Or do we do it with, we should do it with Pete, really. If we have red, we get Pete and Tempest in, and we'll do red ones, and they can have blue ones. We'll do a SmackDown versus Raw, war of flares. We'll charge at each other backwards so that our bums all hit each other and the flares will light up and stuff.
Well, if that visual image isn't enough to make you subscribe if you haven't already, I don't know what is. Thank you to everyone who did subscribe during this stream, and subscribers in general for pushing us over the 50,000 subscriber mark. This channel's had a fair few rebrands.
We passed it by 41 people.
Oh, we must have picked up over 100 subs today. Excellent. Thank you, everybody. And also, what's coming up for the rest of the week?
It's a pretty, not so much a quiet week, but we have got the NXT podcast tomorrow with the Intangibles. Ollie and I will be back on Thursday to review a good wrestling show, AEW Dynamite. And then on Friday, it's the WrestleTalk Podcast magazine show with myself and Denise Salcedo with special guest Alex, Queen of the Ring, and my Taylor Swift music video punishment because England lost the World Cup. And then on Saturday, the Intangibles will be doing the SmackDown podcast.
Awesome. Well, please do subscribe. Go over and watch my WrestleTalk news video that went earlier. And jam that jam, folks.
Jam that jam. Fist me, bro. Bang a lot of powder and fist me with a flare. Come on now.
Oh, yeah. 20 cans of